All right, we are now being joined by the former president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Wale Oyekoya. Good morning for joining us this morning on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Indeed, food importation, a time bomb. Do you agree?
Definitely.
Why?
It's more or less like a food crisis. By the time you spend most of your expenditures on importing food, that's why we'll be talking about import base that is being just over bloated, because our import base keep on increasing 11% every year. It's not getting us to nowhere, and by the time you keep on importing all this food that's supposed to be produced in the country, definitely the local contents are being killed, and the job that's supposed to be provided to our citizens is being exported out. So definitely there's no way a nation is going to survive when you are importing almost everything that could be produced in the country, because I remember that the food base import base we are talking about, we are importing nothing less than almost about 500 billion naira every year. That's a huge amount of money, and it keep on climbing. So that's why the present government is talking about listening. Let us stop all this importation. Let us improve on the local contents, and by so doing, our farmers will be able to encourage and will be able to produce what we have. Casino raising rice has to be imported into this country when we have so many arable land that are so fertile that we don't even know fertilizers, like all this DPK we are talking about. So I believe we have everything it takes to be able to provide our own food in this country.
But yet we're not able to harness this. Okay, at this point, let's bring in Dahiru Hamanya. He is the Technical Assistant Officer of FADAMA. Good morning to you, Dahiru, and thanks for joining us. Okay, the figures, well, just like you heard our guest here, Wale, recent estimates, 53 million Nigerians actually are hungry, and 52% live below the poverty line, and Nigeria spends about $3 billion every year on importing food. Our guest here has said Nigeria has more than enough arable land. So what exactly, where did we get it wrong? Especially when you recall that in the 50s and 60s, Nigeria was actually self-sufficient in food.
Dahiru, can you hear us?
If Dahiru can hear us, please.
Pardon? I can't hear you.
Okay, well, the question again, let me try to rephrase. 53 million Nigerians are hungry right now, and 52% live below the poverty line. Is this a cause for worry for you? All right, we'll have to come back to the studio and try to reconnect and make sure that we can actually have that conversation with Dahiru there in Abuja. Yes, you want to respond to this one? I mean, this is alarming. And we spend $3 billion every year on food.
See, we've been talking about food crisis for the past 3 years, definitely on this platform, during the last regime. And we've been talking about diversification of our economy, and everything is blown to our face. Now, definitely it's a cause for alarm, because now people call it 001 or whatever they call that. They only eat 1 meal a day, rationing.
Or 00 half.
Or 00 half. You know, they have turned Nigerians to be beggars. And we have no business being a beggar in our own country, where some people are living large. The money that's supposed to go for the investment of agriculture is going to some people's pockets. And it's really turned my heart when some state governors are saying that the president should pardon all the corruption charges in the South. So what happened to the present governor? So by the time they embezzle the money, they say, okay, they should write it off. We have problem in our hands, and the problem is just from our so-called leaders that really, just like what the other guests have said, that they go into the project that is not really necessary, that will not put the food on the tables of average Nigerians.
So you're saying we have excess liquidity in the system, yet the farmers don't have access to credit?
Definitely. In fact, forget about credit for farmers. Most of the financial institution does not even believe in farming, and that is why the problem really comes in. And what about the Apex Bank? What are they doing? We just be hearing billions are going to farmers, but the real farmers, real farmers, And I know so many real farmers are not even benefiting from all this funds they've been talking about.
But the CBN has, at least to an extent, supervises or regulates the agric bank in Nigeria. And from their last report, the bank actually closed at a loss. So that means there was no profit made. So is it that the farmers are not taking advantage of this, or what?
Not that they are not taking advantage. The money is not really given to the real farmer. I know what I'm talking about. We have so many political and portfolio farmers that can easily go to the bank because they know the bank managers or the director that, oh, we need some of this agri fund. I need it. They just say they have this farm, but critically looking, they don't. And the problem we are having today is about value chains. We don't produce, we don't process, and that is why we have problem with tomatoes today. Yeah. Had it been that we have storage facilities, some of this raw material will have been stored and processed around this time where it is needed, but we don't have no storage. We've been talking about these storage facilities for ages.
It's amazing, but let's bring Dahiru Hamanya back. He's in Abuja. He's a technical assistant officer of FADAMA. Dahiru, yes, this government has been talking about diversifying the economy. Do you think we're really just paying, lip service to the idea of making agriculture the mainstay of the economy?
Yeah, basically the government has to diversify the economy, not just because they need to, because they have to. If you look at our economy has been on oil sector, and globally the oil issue is becoming archaic, because we have realized that with the oil, it has really made nonsense of all the sectors of the economy that could carry the much needed employment issue of this country. We have done it before. The economy has relied on the non-oil sector before, and we were better off then. And I think with the right policies, this government will definitely achieve what is really needed to drive the economy.
All right, Mr. Dahiru, you work for FADAMA, and I know that FADAMA is supported, assisted by the World Bank, and that means there are some other development partners who are interested in things like that. So beyond galvanizing and sensitizing the Nigerian populace to buy into such ideas as yours, what are you doing to engage the policymakers to seek a change?
Hello?
Yes, I'm asking if yes, Mr. Dahiru, I'm asking if your group, supported by the World Bank and other development partners, what are they doing to engage the policymakers so we have a direction and the right steps?
Yeah. Sorry, if I say what the project like FADAMA is doing with other development partners in providing platform key into. Is that right?
Yes.
So FADAMA project, as you may know, is a project that is being supported by the World Bank, and basically is to assist the farmers to sustainably increase their incomes, and by so doing they will help reduce rural poverty and ensure sustainable development goals. And we have had the opportunity to demonstrate using the value chain approach across all sectors of agriculture, be it livestock, fisheries, poultry, and it has really giving results. So what we expect the policymakers is to look at those platforms that were demonstrated by the FADAMA project and other multinational donor agencies, and to look at how they can expand on it, strengthen it, so that the populace will benefit from the approach. Because it is basically a community-driven development approach where the community is encouraged to come up with their development agenda. If you involve the stakeholder in planning for whatever project, definitely it is going to be sustainable. And once it is being sustained, then income will be generated and employment opportunities will be created. So we hope that the policymakers will look into the lessons of projects like FADAMA and other donor supported projects.
Right. Gentlemen, just stay with us. At the top of the hour, we'll bring you the news, and of course our viewers will want to know what is happening in the world right now. And Kemi Folademo is ready to bring us the latest at the top of the hour. Over to you now, Kemi.
Thanks a lot, Ngozi. The federal government has ordered the immediate withdrawal of troops from communities in the Niger Delta. This is to quell allegations of a heavy-handed military response to renewed attacks on oil and gas installations by the militant group, the Niger Delta Avengers. The decision was taken at a meeting between Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, governors from states in the Niger Delta region, some ministers and military chiefs. But soldiers will continue to patrol the waterways. Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa says authorities at the meeting agreed that a synergy in intelligence sharing between the federal and state governments would help in tackling militancy. A suspect the Nigerian Navy strongly believes is the coordinator of a series of attacks on oil and gas pipelines in Delta State has been captured. The man, whose identity is being kept secret for now, was among 7 suspects paraded by the commander of NNS Delta, Raimi Mohammed, before newsmen in Warri. Mohammed described the arrest of the hunky man as a major breakthrough. A masked man who has been on the wanted list of the Nigerian military was also paraded. Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello and the Chief of Army Staff Tukur Buratai are to appear before the ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives led by Majority Leader Femi Gbajabiamila, while Bello is to explain why he signed an appropriation bill passed by 5 state lawmakers into law. And Buratai is to tell the committee why soldiers were deployed to the Kogi State House of Assembly to give protection to the legislators who passed that budget. Honorable Chukwuemeka Ojam raised the issue on matters of urgent public importance. Meanwhile, Kogi State Elections Petitions Tribunal sitting in Abuja has dismissed the action filed by the immediate past Governor Idris Wada challenging the emergence of Yahaya Bello as governor. The suit was dismissed for lack of merit, the same reason given for Monday's dismissal of that filed by James Falike. Tribunal Chairman Justice Halima Mohammed held that Wada, who is of the People's Democratic Party, had no right to institute the case as he wasn't a member of the All Progressives Congress. Justice Mohammed further held that it's a party that chooses its candidates and only members of the party who participate in an election or are excluded can challenge the outcome of that election. But counsel to Wada says his client would appeal the judgment. The chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal is unhappy with perceived delay tactics being employed by the Defense Counsel in the ongoing trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki. Danladi Umar was reacting to the prosecution's observation and noted that Saraki would face the full consequences of the charges of false assets declaration leveled against him. But Saraki's counsel, Kanu Agabi, told the tribunal that he and his client were worried over assumed prejudices. A prosecution witness, Michael Wetcast, told the tribunal under a cross-examination that Saraki was never investigated by the EFCC on the ownership of 2 properties in Abuja, which he allegedly failed to declare. The case has been adjourned to June the 15th. Boko Haram has invaded Kanama town in Yobe State. The militants killed residents and burned down a police station in the town. Police authorities say 2 officers are missing but have ruled out their being dead. Kanama is a border town between Yobe and Niger Republic. While the National Association of Resident Doctors has vowed to begin an indefinite nationwide strike on Thursday, President of the body, Mohammed Askira, made this known to newsmen at a joint news conference in Kano. Askira says the decision was made after the failure of the federal government to meet their demands. While their grievances include what they describe as an injustice in remuneration and non-payment of their salaries. Finally, at this time, Nigerian football icon Stephen Keshi is dead. He died suddenly in the early hours of today in Benin, Edo State, Nigeria. The Nigerian Football Federation confirmed this on their official Twitter handle. Keshi was scheduled to return to the United States this evening before he suffered a cardiac arrest. Keshi, nicknamed the Big Boss, is the only Nigerian coach to have won the Africa Cup of Nations, achieved a rare feat in 2013 by becoming only the second person to win the trophy, both as a player and as a coach. For that news update, back to Ngozi and Busolami.
Thank you very much. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and we have been discussing food importation to Nigeria, and we have with us Wale Oyekoya, and also joining us from Abuja is Dahiru Hamanya. He is the Technical Assistant Officer of FADAMA. But before we continue, let's give you some other perspectives to this topic. Now, the discovery of oil prompted the neglect of oil sectors. Nigeria became an import-dependent nation. Items from industrial machines to toothpaste, toothpick and orange juice, which Nigeria can effortlessly produce, are some of the items now being imported into the country.
In the last 6 months, for instance, Nigeria's international trade has remained at 92% import and 80% export. 8% export, really. And according to data obtained from the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigerians imported goods worth 1.65 trillion naira in the first quarter of this year alone.
And now, in the first quarter of the year, trade balance dipped to a negative 184.1 billion naira, according to the NBS statistics. Nigeria is the world's #1 importer of rice, with an annual average spend of about $2 billion. Industry reports placed Nigeria's annual consumption requirement at 5 million metric tons, substantially higher than domestic supply, estimated at 3 million metric tons.
A report shows that Nigerian rice merchants imported 25 million metric tons of rice, valued at 8.86 billion naira. That's about dollars, really. That's about 1.77 trillion naira. And these imports, most of them come from Thailand, Pakistan, India, United States, Vietnam in the last 10 years.
Okay, let's just put a hold on that. I mean, Oyekoya, the statistics are really mind-boggling, to say the least. Considering the fact that Nigeria has had different, agricultural programs, Green Revolution, Operation Feed the Nation, and now we're talking about, making agriculture the mainstay. The real question is, how sustainable is this present government's move or drive? Especially at the time when the World Bank actually says that a Greek will provide 4 times, what it requires to provide or to actually end poverty.
Definitely, the figure you see, yes, it's right. If even not more than that, and this is what we've been talking about long time ago before the present administration, that the political will has to be there. If I happen to be the president, Buhari, you know what I will do? To declare a state of emergency for food security in this country. Because we are not facing the fact that why should our citizens be buying tomatoes, 1 piece of tomato for 100 naira? So all this policy they've been having is not really working. Nigeria always have beautiful policies, but the implementation is always a problem. They will talk, by the time the money really come out, then the real beneficiary of all 4 this, which are the local farmers, will not benefit from it. And the little one that we are producing in this country, Nigerian farmers are really trying, despite all the odds. Because the infrastructure is not there, the security is not there. You see that you are farming, some herdsmen will just come and bombard you, Boko Haram will come and bomb you. So with all this, Nigerian local farmers are really trying, but there's no way we are going to compete with all this importation of all these goods coming to the country. Look at all the rice they are making in Kebbi, Adamawa, It's a whole lot to be able to feed this nation. But by the time they are bringing in some of these substandard products from other countries, we think that we are eating good food, but they are nothing but shaft, where all the protein content is already gone. Because some of these rice have taken like 10 years in their warehouse before coming to Nigeria. So these are the problems that the government really need to tackle, that enough is enough. And we have so many youths looking for jobs. As I keep on saying, there's no way you will encourage youth to go into farming with all these old tools like hoes and cutlasses. We have gone beyond that. There are so many modern tools that the government can really encourage. The man from Fadama keep on saying, if I happen to be the president, I will scrape this Fadama because it's not really helping the farmers. It's not really helping. We've been having Fadama for the past 10 years. And how many...
Fadama 1, Fadama 2, Fadama 3.
Yes, and
so
on
it's just like money for the boys. Let me be honest with you.
Okay, Prince Wale Oyekoya, it's always a delight having you on TVC Breakfast. I wish we had enough time. I will have to say thank you very much for joining us on the show. Okay, of course, we still have our guest, Dahiru Hamanya, a technical officer of Fadama. You want to respond to, you know, what our guest just said, whether Fadama really has
lived up to its billing.
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, hello. The
Hello?
question, yeah, my colleague asked you, should Fadama be scrapped according to what our guest said here?
No, you see, Fadama is an intervention. Fadama is an intervention that is supposed to demonstrate best practices in the field of agriculture. It is not meant to last, but there are institutions of government like the federal ministries and other parastatals that could learn from the success stories of Fadama. Right from planning, Fadama has not been designed to remain, but it is just an intervention that is providing a platform because of the government bureaucracy that could not allow the normal institution of government to drive the agricultural investment to the desired result. So make no mistake that whether Fadama 1, 2 or 3, it has achieved the goals that was set by that organizations, but it's left to the government and the beneficiaries to now take the lessons and implement. Government can take the platform, the framework of Fadama and implement on the national scale, while the beneficiaries will learn lessons of best practice and adopt it at their farms and other enterprises. You know, Fadama is both upstream and downstream agricultural activities.
Okay, so now, what exactly is the way forward? How can Nigeria avoid the risk of hunger that is, you know, overshadowing the country right now?
Well, you see, we have the potentials for producing any kind of crops or livestock in this country. It's just that to have the right policies in place that will encourage massive production across the value chain, then creating the market for the commodities. If you can produce without an off-taker, whether government, whether private sector, definitely the frustration for the small-scale farmer will be enormous. You will have to battle with the issue of getting the inputs, which like an issue of fertilizer is almost an impossible thing for him. Then he will now come to battle with the issue of environment, because he produces mainly for crop farmers, produces mainly with rainfed. And then after all this, he will now also come to battle with an issue of marketing. So the whole issue is frustrating. If the farmers will start recording their expenses, believe you me, they will not go into farming, because by the end of the day, if you make the cost-benefit analysis, it is not worth it. So government must provide the enabling environment, not necessarily funding, but policies. For instance, whatever the farmer produce, let the government at whatever level, guarantee the market for them. And,
okay, just hold that thought there. Let's just bring more figures to this so that it is even clearer to Nigerians. Statistics revealed that in 2006, the country imported 1.5 million metric tons, 1.8 million metric tons in 2007, and 1.75 million tons in 2008, 1.75 million metric tons in 2009, and 2.4 million metric tons in 2010. In 2011, the nation also imported 3.2 million tons, 2.8 million tons in 2012, 2.8 million tons in 2013, and 3.5 million tons in 2014, and 2.5 million tons in 2015. The tonnage is enough to just, really get one confused, and you're wondering what exactly are we talking about.
Yeah, in between these tons and millions of tons, there are also cases of rice being smuggled into the country. The ones that are imported legally, that's what we have, but cases of illegal smuggling
across the borders and all that.
Country. So initially the bulk of Nigerian rice imports came from Thailand and India. However, India's removal of an export ban on non-basmati rice has led to the country becoming Nigeria's leading supplier.
Nigeria is by far West Africa's largest rice producer. The rice producing areas can be subdivided into the rain-fed upland, that's 30%, the rain-fed lowlands, aka Fadama, 47%, irrigated 7%, that's 17%, and deep water floating production 5%. Now, the main areas of rice cultivation in the country include the Middle Belt and northern states of Benue, Borno, Kebbi, Kaduna, Kano, Niger, and Taraba, as well as the southeastern states of Enugu, Cross River, and Ebonyi.
This is ironic, actually. Nigeria is one of the largest producers of rice in West Africa. And incidentally, Nigeria is the largest or the highest importer of rice in the world. It's an irony, isn't it?
It's amazing, and it looks like we've actually taken over from Singapore. That used to be the #1. Yet we have absolutely no reason to import rice, according to the experts, not our words.
All right.
Okay. Yes, I guess Busolami has the next, salvo for... Okay. Yes, our guest, of course, Dahiru Hamanya, technical officer for Dama. We've been discussing this. Of course, we had an earlier guest who has, just left the studio. And you've been trying to, talk about the way forward for government in terms of policies. But the issue of sustainability, that seems to be where the problem is. How do we sustain, especially with this government wanting to, make agriculture the #1, source of income for us?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Dairu.
Hello?
Yes, the way forward, really.
Yeah, the way forward, I think this government have started the roadmap for the way forward by calling all stakeholders in the agricultural sector to come and sit with government, both domestic producers, international development agencies, to come and have an agenda and a framework that is short-term, medium-term, and long-term for the government to look at it. The best practice all over the world today is the commercialization of that sector. People must be seen to be making money in agriculture before it becomes sustainable. And the way agriculture is portrayed today in this country, the youths that form the bulk of the population cannot key into it because it is not attractive. It is traditionally backward. It is not mechanized, and you don't expect a young graduate that has a lot of thinking in his mind to come and embrace an enterprise that does not look attractive, neither does it give him income. So we have to come together and tell ourselves the truth. The leadership must provide that platform. Enabling environment.
Want to say,
institutions.
Yes, we'll have to end it there. Dahiru Hamanya, Technical Officer of FADAMA, speaking to us from Abuja on, well, the time bomb that is food importation in Nigeria. Thank you so much for being part of the show this morning.